Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I'm your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode 158 of the show, and before we get started, I'm going to do a little bit of house cleaning real quick because, well, you guys know we like to do it around here, and it only makes sense that we do house cleaning because, well, we always do it, so we might as well just do it now. I do want to say thank you guys for coming back and listening to today's episode. It really does mean a lot to me. You guys constantly take time out of our days to listen to this episode, to watch this episode, whether you're listening to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because obviously that's where we put all the audio versions of these shows. And the video version clearly is on YouTube, so all of you people can see my lovable face or punchable face, depending on whichever one you want to go with. But I do thank you guys for taking time out of your busy days to give me a listen, listen to what I have to say and see my take on things. I really do appreciate that. I do also want to say thank you to the Patreon backers for being Patreon backers and constantly supporting me. So I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for all your love and support. I really do appreciate it. So thank you. I do also want to say, well, for anybody that's watching the video version, you can clearly see where the outfit's a little bit different this time. Clearly we're using the new hat that I bought and a little bit of white, so we're matching. We got white hat, white shirt, and my white joggers and my white Vans. But I definitely most of my friends have been making jokes. They're like, Josh, I think you're starting to dress a little bit too much like a Cuban drug dealer. And some of my friends are like, dude, what are you doing with all this drip? And I have to say it like that. It's just funny. We're going with it. But today is a real talk. And this one to me is very important due to the fact that I took inspiration from this from a talk that I had heard on Sunday. And to me, I wanted to share this with you because I feel like this relates so much with me, but at the same time, it relates to a lot of people. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear this. A lot of people may have already heard this, but I feel like they need a reminder. So what are we talking about? The idea or the premise behind today's real talk is focused on the idea of you're not able to rewind time, but that's okay. And why was this important? Why did this pop up? Why now? Just to give a little bit of context, on Sunday at my church, Redeemer here in Lubbock, our pastor Dusty made a very interesting statement where it's like, yes, as many people want in their life, there's always been a moment where you say something or you do something or you didn't do something and you wish you could go back and get another crack at it. That is always what a lot of people want, because we've all had those moments where we say something where we really shouldn't have said it and we wish we can take it back, but you can't. And that is something that stuck with me, because I look back at my life, 21 years, wow, big deal, and I can clearly say, yeah, I've had a lot of those instances where I wish I could go back and undo a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of decisions that I wish I could not make. If I could tell my younger self, hey, I've seen where this goes. This isn't going to go well for you, bud. If I want to make it a little bit more personal, yeah, some of those decisions would be not spending enough time with my sister before she passed away. And that, I've always told people, has always stung me the most. There's a reason why that anybody that knows me on a very personal level knows why I always say that my sister's grave is one of my biggest mistakes ever. Because I had always asked for a sister that, cared, that I've always asked for somebody close, bloodline related, that would understand me. And I ignored that person. But I kept asking, where is this person? It'd be nice to have this person. And I ignored it. Or more specifically, I ignored her. And that has always been something that's always been hard on me, because I wish that I could get a second chance. I would have loved an opportunity to take advantage of that and imagine how that relationship would have grown and how healthy and how good and how different things would have been. But I can only hope for that. I can only wish. But the reality is, I can't. And although for a lot of people, stuff like that is relatable. I know there's a lot of people recently that I know that lost grandparents. There's people that lost family. There's people that have lost so much and they wish they could get a second chance to undo this because it doesn't feel fair. And you're right. It's not fair. I had recently just was reminded of something that was kind of important, where there's 3 aspects to life that are important. That you're going to die, nothing is guaranteed, and the reality is life is pretty random. That's the reality of things. You're gonna grow up, you're gonna die, and life is random as all hell. A lot of people don't like that. They're like, well, Josh, I like being in control of my life. And the reality is you have no control. That's the cold, hard reality the illusion of man has created. The illusion of control is what man has created because they believe that they have some semblance of control when you really don't. The easiest way it was put to me is like, someone told me, Josh, let me be honest with you, bro. We don't really have control of the things in our life. They were just going in that direction. We were already going in that direction, so it just lined up. But you have no control. The only thing that belongs to you are the decisions that you make. Everything else, you can't control. And a lot of people, that bothers them because that is what human nature desires, is control. That to try to understand what is going on. And we can't. We will not understand everything because we are not high dimensional understanding human beings. We are not we do not understand everything. We're not omnipotent. We're not omnipresent. We're not all knowing. We're not all powerful. We are simple specks of dust in this giant cosmic universe. We're literally just tiny specks of dust. Pieces of history that will come and go long before the earth ever goes away. And that's something that freaks a lot of people out, that we don't have control. And yet we want the opportunity to rewind time, to undo past decisions. And the reality is you can't. And for a lot of people, that hurts. I'm being honest with you. It hurts me. It hurts a lot. It hurts every day that I breathe, if I'm being honest. Trying not to get emotional, But it's because of those experiences, it's because of those decisions that I am the person that stands here now. The person that has been shaped, has been molded by those experiences, whether they be good or bad. They have helped me get to the point where I am now. And I can say the same for you too. All your decisions that you have made in your life has brought you to where you are now. Whether it be good, whether it be bad, you are here. And that's something that a lot of people seem to forget how important that is. That you are still here. That you are still breathing. You are still able to do what you are able to do because you have a purpose in your life. That life has meaning. That life is not meaningless. Just because things are random and you have no control does not mean that there is no meaning to it all. It's just you don't understand the meaning. And you probably never will. But that's okay. You're not supposed to understand it. And that freaks a lot of people out because like, Josh, I need to know. I need to know why this happened. And the reality is, you may never know. And you have to be okay with that. I know in my case, I always ask myself, Josh, why do we keep going, bud? Why? You have endured so much crap. And yet you still somehow keep a smile on your face. There's days that are much more difficult than others, if I'm being honest. There's days where I miss my sister a lot. There's days where I miss my grandfather, my grandmother, my aunt, my brother. There's days where I wish they were here. There's days where I wish my sister was at my graduation. Both my graduations, you know. The graduation to come and the one that has already passed. If I'm being honest. That it was hard, like seeing that empty chair and that ticket that was not claimed at my high school graduation, which would have gone to my sister. It's sad that if I'm ever blessed with the opportunity with children or to be married, my grandparents won't be able to see my children. There's days where I wish I could ask my grandmother, why did you always call me precious child, even after all the stupid things that I've done? It's questions like that, and it's situations and moments like that that it makes things difficult. But just because you can't rewind time doesn't mean that it's all pointless, that we're gloom and doom, it's game over. No. I've made a lot of poor decisions in my life. I've hurt a lot of people in my life. But I'm always reminded that one of the most beautiful things is that just because you cannot rewind time doesn't mean that that situation cannot be redeemed. That God specifically cannot redeem that situation, because he can. He takes your mess and makes it your message. He takes what's considered filth and makes something beautiful. That he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end of all creation. The one who created the most beautiful thing in the entire universe. The jewel of the universe, the soul. One of the most beautiful things ever made. And he can control it, and he can also destroy it. It's interesting because there's always that saying that people always say is like, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, because that's what the Bible talks about, is that the beginning of all wisdom is the fear of the Lord. And for me, that's always been something that I need to remind myself of. That I need to remind myself that yes, there is somebody who is always watching out for you, that has always protected you, that has always made sure that you have everything that you need, even after all the stupid things you've done. That's crazy, right? It doesn't sound right. It sounds crazy. It sounds ludicrous. That just because I have screwed up so much in my life, that there's still somebody that says, hey, I love you. I will pay whatever price it is to have you and to make sure that you are okay. There's a reason why there's always that saying that, yes, when you fall down, you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you keep moving. Yes, you acknowledge the past. That's the point. It's your history. But your past is the past. It is not your future. You can have your past there. That's what it's your past. It's part of your story. But it will not affect your future if you don't want it to. Your past is the past for a reason. A lot of people need to hear this, because I feel like there's a lot of people, and because I fall into this boat too, guys and girls, that I like to beat myself up a lot because I don't forget. Every single mistake I make, every single poor decision, I'm always remembering it because it's so ingrained into my head. And I end up beating myself up because of it. Or it's like, you're a screw up. What's different? Oh, you made another mistake. Let's add this to the list. Oh, you said something stupid. What's different? Nothing's new. And that's unhealthy. That's not good for me. I know that it's unhealthy and I know that it's not good for me, yet I keep doing it. And I feel like a lot of people do the same thing. We're like dogs going back to our vomit. It's hard, isn't it? Life is not easy. No one ever said that life would be easy. But that's okay. It's not supposed to be easy. But that's something that I have come to believe, and I'm willing to share this with you. That yes, that Christ has called us to live an abundant life. A life with Him that is filled with joy. It may not be perfect, because it will not be perfect. You will still suffer. But you who suffer on His behalf will be with Him in paradise. That you will learn to be content when you have everything and when you have nothing. That is the beautiful thing in all of that. You may not be able to rewind time. It sucks because we wish we could. You can't look at me in the eye and tell me, Josh, you don't know what it's like to feel this way. I feel this way every single day of my life. There isn't a moment that doesn't go by that I don't think about my grandfather, that I don't think about my grandmother, that I don't think about my aunt, that I don't think about my brother, that I don't think about my sister. I think about them all the time. I cry myself to sleep sometimes when I listen to songs that remind me of them, or things that remind me of them. And it sucks because my heart aches because I cannot do anything to change that. But I can still keep moving forward because that is what they would have wanted for me to do. That is what my life is supposed to be, is to keep moving forward. Yes. Like, I'm not going to tell people that, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I do believe that's true. It may not kill you, but it may make you bitter. And that is something that a lot of people need to realize. Just because something doesn't kill you, it doesn't mean it's not going to make you bitter. It doesn't mean you're not going to be filled with resentment, that you're not going to be filled towards anger, depression, that just because it didn't kill you, it doesn't mean it's not going to affect you, because it will. It's just, how do you deal with it? How do you process that? How do you go about dealing with those new emotions that have been added, or these new feelings that have been added because of this? How do you deal with it? And that's something that a lot of people need to realize. Yes, we are not able to undo our history. A lot of people would say, if I was given a second chance of life, What would you do differently? That question has always been asked. If you were given a second chance to live your life again, would you make the same decisions? Yes or no? There's plenty of people that would say yes, because they felt like, I messed up too bad. I need another chance. But in my case, I would say no. The reason I say no is because I know that if I were to change anything, this conversation would not be happening. This conversation that you and me are having right now, where you are seeing my face, you are listening to my voice, this would never happen. None of this would have ever happened. I can promise you that. It would have never happened. And for a lot of people, that's something they need to realize. Yes, bad things may have happened in your life that have affected you, that have shaped your personality, that have shaped your attitude towards life or how you view people or whatever. But it is helping you become the person that you are destined to be, what has been ordained for you. The person that God has called you to be is because of those experiences, you are equipped to be the person that you are supposed to be. You just have to let them take control. And that's difficult for me. As somebody that, if I'm being honest, people say, Josh, you're super religious. And I'm like, I'm not super religious. Because I'm not religious. I'm an imperfect person trying to go through life. But I'm doing it under the guise and under the wisdom of the one who knows how to live life. Because he lived the perfect life. I could never live the perfect life. You could never live the perfect life. There are many things that I wish I could have, but I don't. And there's a good reason for it. I may not know the reason. I may never know the reason why, but that's okay. That's the point of having faith, because faith is believing in what is unseen. If you could see it, or if you could know everything, there's no point in faith. And that's something that I've had to wrestle with a lot. And I'm still wrestling with it because I'm not perfect. I could have all these nice clothes, all this nice equipment, all this, these nice pieces of technology, but they don't matter in the end. They don't. And that's the most important thing in the situation. These things do not matter. But life does have meaning. Life is not meaningless. Just because you can't undo past mistakes doesn't mean that life has no meaning. All that really means is, hey, learn from these decisions that you have made. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep walking. There's a proverb that I always remember, which talks about, for the righteous have fallen, which it says, for the righteous falls 7 times and rises again and again, but the wicked stumble and calamity strikes. 7 being a significant number in that case, because 7 represents completion. It means perfection. And that's something beautiful in that case, because it's like, yes, you have failed. You have messed up. But that's okay. Because there's somebody out there who loves you, who cares about you, that's crazy about you, and wants the absolute best for you. It's just, are you willing to listen to him? Are you willing to be obedient? That's hard. No one's saying it isn't. You're going to get looked at funny. You're going to get called names. You're going to get called crazy. And that's okay. Because life with him is far better than anything you could ever imagine. He has been faithful to his promises to me throughout everything. He's been faithful to my family. He's been faithful to my friends. He's taken care of all of us, met our needs, and exceeded our expectations. And yes, we're still imperfect human beings because we make mistakes. We choose poorly, but that's okay. It's every new day is a new opportunity. And that's something that is beautiful. Yes, it stings that we cannot undo time, that we can't go back and get another chance at doing things. But it's beautiful because we could take those experiences, learn from those mistakes, so that history does not repeat itself. Yes, you may not be guaranteed prosperity in life. You may not be guaranteed a nice car, a nice job, a nice house, a big family, but that's okay. The point is to learn to be content with your life in every situation, to be content in Christ, that He is the ultimate joy and satisfaction, that everything you do in life should revolve around Him and not He should revolve around what you do. Because He is everything. Everything belongs to Him. He made everything. You are a speck of dust in the entire universe that He has made. But He cares so much about you, that tiny speck of dust, that He was willing to pay the price that you and I could never pay, which was death for our sin. And that's the reality of it. I hope this was helpful. I hope that me opening up and willing to share with you about how I feel about that kind of question, I hope it was helpful. I hope it helped you. I hoped if you could relate to it, then you would let me know. If you were encouraged by this, let me know. But I thank you guys for everything. You guys are great. I love you guys to death. This is the only episode for this week because I'm busy with school. As I've mentioned many times, school will always come first. But thank you to Patreon backers for supporting me, for supporting the show. Thank you guys for watching this episode. If you are watching this on YouTube or listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen to your podcast. Thank you guys for everything. I really, really do appreciate it that I was able to open up and pour my heart out to you guys. I love you guys to death. Please continue to be safe. Have yourselves a wonderful week. Please continue to take care of everyone around you. Give your loved ones a call. You never know when it might be the last time. Reach out to somebody that you haven't reached out to in a while and see how they're doing. I love you guys. Please be safe. Don't do anything dumb. Have a wonderful week. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.